Hey there, my name is Chris Acton with Acting Creative, and this is a handwoven experience, episode 121. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about a bevy of beams. Now, I'll let you in on a little secret, is that even though I've been weaving for years and years and years, I still get confused on which beam is called which. So this episode is as much for me as it is for you. But together, we are going to talk it through, and we're going to put some tips and tricks so we can remember which beam is called which item. Are you with me? Okay, let's do this. So a loom has a number of different beams. Now I am working on a floor loom. I'm sitting at the front. You know it's the front because here's your beater bar. That's the moving piece there. So my loom has 4 beams. It has 2 in the front. It has one here and one here. And then in the back, it looks kind of the mirror image, right? I have a beam there and then I have one down below. Now, this is for a floor loom. A table loom has the same design, as does a rigid heddle. So of those types of looms, you're gonna have a number of beams to contend with. So let's start at the front since I'm sitting right here. Okay, so let's talk about this beam that is right here. This one is called the breast beam. Now, that kind of makes sense, right? I'm sitting at the front, it's kind of breast chest height, right? So that kind of, I could kind of see that. This is the breast beam. This one here at the front, this is called the cloth beam. Now, let's think about that. When you're weaving, you start with all your yarn on the back and you end up with all your fabric on the front. So it's all moving your direction towards you and it's coming around our breast beam. I'm going to practice saying that. It's coming around the breast beam and it's going to wind onto the cloth beam. So this is where the cloth is going to live. Okay, that makes sense, right? Breast beam, cloth beam, check, check. Okay, we're halfway done. Let's talk about the back. So this piece that's on the back, the one that's right there, this is the easiest one. Are you ready? It's called the back beam. It is just that simple. That one I like because that seems very, very straightforward. So that's 3 of the 4. Here's our last one, this guy right here. That one is called the warp beam. Now, you know how we talked about the weaving process and everything's moving towards the front of the loom? Well, you start out with all yarn on the back, all warp yarn, and you end up with all fabric or cloth on the front. So when we think about it that way, it makes sense that that beam right there would be called the warp beam. I like that. Yeah, we can remember that, right? Now, I want to include a little kind of asterisk. As I was researching diagrams of looms, in a couple places I saw something that was very interesting, is that they called this piece and that piece there rollers, which I gotta be honest, I kind of like that because even though these can all be considered beams, only this one and that one move. They roll. Right? There's some kind of nice logic to that because this beam is never, its purpose is to stay still and let you move the fabric around it, right? This one though, when you release the brake, this one's gonna turn, spin around, and so is that one back there. So if you felt so inclined and the beam conversation was a little complicated, I think it's totally fine to call these rollers because it's a very nice description. It tells you what they're doing and that narrows it down as to which piece you're talking about. So if you want to just call it a front and a back roller or a cloth and a warp roller, you could totally do that. I think for my money, I say you go for it. Whatever kind of helps you keep it straight in your head. So that is our bevy of beams discussion. Thank you for entertaining me here because it's really helped me to kind of talk it through too. So hopefully this helped clarify things on your end as much as it did for me. All right, you guys, put something on your loom so it isn't empty. Use those beams, would you? Have a great week. Happy weaving.